So, I mean, I know you know Mike, but tell me a little bit of your background. How did you guys stumble upon each other?
So when I had my heart failure, I was told by all the docs my life was going to change quite a bit. So at that point in time, I was like, oh shit, I need a companion. So I got a dog, and her name was Corazon, meaning heart. So I said, oh shit, this Mike Lorraine guy, I'm going to have her trained, because I saw some of the footage that Mike had done with these dogs that I know served veterans.
And you just found him on Google or something?
No, my buddy who I taught jujitsu to was the sniper in Iraq who had PTSD when he came back. Okay. And then Mike trains the dogs for people who are loss of mobility, and also therapy dogs for PTSD. Mm-hmm. So I came out here and I interviewed Mike, and he doesn't take a lot of civilian dogs. You know, he usually does it for the right cause. Yeah. And we hit it off right away. And he got Cora, and he trained Cora like nobody's ever seen a Doberman trained before.
Wow.
We're in the middle of Palm Beach County on our way to a compound that trains some of the baddest dogs you've ever seen. And I don't mean bad in a bad way. Mike Lorraine trains dogs for canine personal protection, and maybe more importantly, dogs used for our veterans who've been injured physically or emotionally during their service for our country. How long you had Charlie?
About 3.5 years now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And why'd you get Charlie?
Well, I was a diver in the Navy. I was in an accident about 7 years ago, paralyzed from the chest area down. And, you know, I dealt with some medical complications directly after, and that's actually when I initially met Mike and came down, checked out Camo and all their service dogs, and I was like, you know, that's something I could see myself, you know, really benefiting from one day. So, you know, a couple years after I initially met Mike, I met Charlie, started coming down here, and ever since we've just been going at it, working hard.
Charlie Brown, what an amazing dog. He is another one of Mike's success stories. Charlie works closely with his partner, Matt. Matt, an injured Navy diver, his life transformed by Charlie Brown. Together, man, what a team, what a duo. What does it mean if I come to you today and I'm a disabled vet, whether it's psychologically, physically disabled? What does that process look like?
First thing that I ask for, of course, a copy of DD-214, so it's the official documentation from the U.S. government when you get out of the military, yep. and I ask them to type up or just put together a bio and share as much as they're comfortable with, and pictures, whatever they can do, how the dog will benefit them, and just that simple task, you can see the forest from the trees very quickly. So when someone submits a paragraph, for sure, if you're not going to make that effort, it's again not fail-proof, but I think it's a good start. And then, of course, they come in person and meet, and and if every candidate could be like Matt, super, but they're not, unfortunately.
Because usually they come in with baggage, right? So and I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean like you either lost mobility, or do you work with people who have PTSD as well?
Of course, yeah.
So again, that's a disability, right? So you're coming in need of the dog with a disability and challenges already. So do you worry about them transferring their pain to the dog at times?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But it's so clear, right? It's so clear this picture and this relationship, opposed to that one where we just met. Like
right. You can sniff it out.
Yeah.
And you as a the PhD in it, and being disabled and being in the service, you can sniff it. And as many people as you've helped, I'm sure that you can sniff it right away too.
Definitely.
And the dogs too? Is it true? Can the dogs tell?
Yeah, for sure. We've definitely seen some, dogs like you kind of go
Not
into the shell. Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned there's no governing body over training of the dogs, right? Anybody can claim these days service dog.
And they do.
Right.
Right. We see it all the time, dogs barking and jumping through TSA. It's a joke. It's so clear, right? It's clear as day, this, and, you know.
So what do you do different here that, and again, differentiates you, you know, from Bob Smith's service dog company?
I'm a working dog purist at heart. I love it.
What do you mean by that? So,
police, canine, military work, things like that.
Was there an evolution of training in the profession?
Never stops. Never stops. We're always evolving, always changing, always up in the bar, for sure.
So what you're teaching today is different than a year ago?
100%. Like not even the same ballpark.
Yeah, so you're incorporating the sporting end of things and the performance and work dogs into...
And it's the science of animal behavior, and that's what we incorporate, and it works, you know, and especially because now with the European, it's about how fast the dogs can do it, with how much enthusiasm and how happy they are with power as well. Right, and I'm talking about protection dogs and the biting sports and things like that. And so what's equally as important is I know how to manage competing motivators much better than the average dog trainer.
What do you mean by that?
So with our pointy-eared dogs, our Malinois Shepherds, they want to bite more than anything on the planet. There's nothing that's cracked to them. They want that bad, right? And so when you can explain to them, you're gonna bite, but you've got to do A, B, C, and then X, Y, Z first, and then you get it. And then we condition them to think it's their idea to perform those behaviors, right? So then we go down to this model, the service dog model, and we know how to add as much conflict as possible, to make it harder as possible, to throw curveballs at them, and the dog still has to perform the task. For sure, I could BS you and say that Charlie wants to please Matt, and he's just doing it because Matt's a superstar handler, but no, Charlie wants to eat too. Charlie wants love.
So you use that normal behavior that's driven sperm and egg, and you're just taking that, what they're already hardwired to do, and you said something interesting. You're making them think it's their idea.
That's it. That is the trick. And I don't care if it's a service dog, if it's a pet dog, or if it's a police canine. When it's their idea, home run.
So, Matt, was Charlie your first dog?
That was the first service dog. I had a golden retriever growing up.
Growing up?
Yep.
And did you train that one?
No, he was terrible. I had no clue what I was doing when I was a kid.
So you walk into Mike, and you're like, I'm signing up.
Yeah.
So is there as much training him as it is Charlie?
Way more.
Really?
10 to 1. 10 to 1. There's so much mythology and there's so much disinformation out there, and you watch TV and you think people and it's a superpower, they got some sort of and it's classical conditioning all day long. So I have to bring Matt up to speed on the science of animal behavior and the science of animal learning, and I have a fantastic chicken training model that illustrates that.
A what model?
Chicken training. If you can train a chicken, you certainly can train a dog.
Can you take me over to the lab so we can see some of this?
Let's do it.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm a kid in a candy store.
Let's go.
All right, so you don't get to get a dog right out of the gate. You know what you get? You get a chicken. You heard me. You get to train the chicken. Let's see how Mike transfers the chicken training skills over to these dogs.
This is our chicken training model.
So a chicken training model? Okay.
So I'm going to teach you about classical conditioning and operant conditioning right now, and the power of those programs. Okay, so you don't have operant conditioning without classical conditioning, right? So Pavlov rang the bell, fed the dogs, rang the bell, fed the dogs, rang the bell, announces the food's coming to the dogs, and on the bell ringing, the dogs began to salivate, right? So
before the food got there, don't need the food anymore.
So this is what we call a conditioned reinforcer, right? It precedes that event of the dogs receiving the food, right?
Got it.
So with this model, we're going to use a clicker, and that's going to signal to the bird, I like what you did, you can break behavior, come get your paycheck, all right?
And the paycheck's the food.
Correct. If the bird cuts a corner, it doesn't do the task completely, negative punishment, withholding the reward. The whole goal here is, I'll sit down and the bird knows I have their food right here. So they've got to go out, up the rope ladder, through the tunnel, over the teeter-totter, around the cones, catwalk, down the slide, and then play a little bit of piano. And so we have an active chicken instead of a reactive chicken. Same thing with our dogs. I want our dogs proactive. That's pretty good. Boom, quick reward, nice reward. So that was a full cycle. So I can discern to the bird that you just did the whole entire circuit and now you get a mini buffet. And for sure that the chicken understands that.
So how can I get a test ride with the Colonel's girlfriend here?
Step number one, you're going to teach your chicken to target a red poker chip only. So we're going to start, there's only going to be a red poker chip on the ground. Okay. So we're going to see how quick you are, your timing, and the most important thing is you have to mark and then move. Their eyesight is incredible, and it's so important when we get to the dogs, right? So they communicate via body language, they see everything. So if you go yes every time, this is really the mark, not the verbal cue.
Got it.
Right, so if you go click and you move at the same time, for sure your movement's gonna be the cue. Same thing for the dog. If I go yes every time to reinforce eye contact, for sure my arm coming up is gonna be the mark, not the audio cue. So very, very important. I'm going to put that red chip here. You're going to keep your hand over the thing, finger on the trigger, on the clicker, right? And so as soon, like a sniper, as soon as that bird's beak hits that poker chip, I want to hear it click.
Okay.
Super, Joe. Perfect. Now I'm going to up the ante. Okay, super. It's okay. And again, I prefer that than half a second late.
She double check. Doing these drills with the chicken, I'm not sure if I'm training the chicken or the chicken is training me. Either way, I know this works. How this chicken knows the red from the white and knows to peck on it in order to get the payoff, blowing my mind. Can we see some dog action?
Some canine work?
Sure.
How close to the action you want to get?
How close can you get me?
Close. Let's go.
Watching these dogs is like watching Olympic athletes. It's so easy to get pulled into the physical intensity and their focus on jumping, swimming, biting. But you can also see them processing in their minds the task at hand. No distractions.
I've been training dogs for 22 years. The myth that dogs want to please humans, that's a myth. They don't.
Really?
They're probably the most self-centered creature on the planet. And if you can wrap your mind around that and accept it, and then use science-based training to condition them, now you're cooking with gas.
Man, these dogs are wired physically, mentally, emotionally, locked and loaded.
They want to bite more than anything on the planet. There's nothing that's cracked to them. They want that bad.
So can I try, do you think I can get in the suit?
For sure you can get in the suit. But what experience you on? What level of intensity?
I'm going to trust you.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's see. I fought with the 155
Yes,
champ at UFC. I fought with a whole bunch of other fighters. I was never that nervous. But right now, let's go get our asses kicked. So when I asked Mike to get up close, I didn't expect it to be quite this close. It's about 100 degrees out. I was sweating before I put on this. I'm going to call it a human mattress, but I'm happy about this mattress I just put on because I'm about to get attacked by a dog that loves to attack. This sounded good, like a good idea on the pre-production.
Are you gonna get right there? I'll get out of the way. Yeah. Bring him closer. Superman, super tension, a lot of tension. Let him in. Whoa, 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 whoa. Be careful. Need tension. You all right? You all right? Keep tension on him. Yes, sir. You all right?
Yep.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. We're gonna stand up. Let him in. Super. You all right, Joe?
Yep. Good.
Right.
All good.
Ready? Let him. Yep. Tension, tension, tension. Super. Tension. Good. You good?
I'm good.
How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel like a ragdoll.
Get him in. Yeah.
He's strong.
Good. Gee, super nice. Good. Yeah, I'm doing a quick recall. Watch it. Please step back for a second. Maverick, here. Super. Woo! Good man. Good. You all right?
Yeah.
Was that the slowest you've ever tipped over in your life? Ever?
Yo!
You falling down your face?
Dude, that was Superman.
So, I mean, this is our first big foray into, you know, we typically are around tech, you know, high tech, come out of these crazy incubators with scientists. You are a fucking scientist when it comes to this. This is purely a science. I'm convinced of that today on everything I saw.
Blue collar science for sure.
It's the first of a true future experience I hope to have more of.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit, sorry, dude.
That's all right.
It's okay?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, that's through. I can't even tell you how thick that suit is.
I purposely picked this jacket because it's got double protection, double layering.
Yeah. That was, yeah, that's from, look at those are hematobas underneath there. Right? Look at that.